We're going live
and action.
now. Yes, we're live on YouTube.
Okay, hello and welcome everybody to our fifth webinar at Space Renaissance Academy. Very welcome to our guests. First of all, Bernard Foying, our president. Welcome.
Hello from the moon. I'm looking forward to future parts.
Yes, he's on the moon. Adriano Ortino, vice president of SRI and one of the founders of the SRI. Welcome.
Hello, everybody.
Okay.
Welcome.
Brett Hoffstadt. Hello, Brett. You have to unmute yourself.
Okay, I'll say hello. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
And Steve Tanaka. Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Yes, Brett and Steve are going to present their project, Goodnight Moon Base. Brett Hoffstadt is an established engineer, project manager, author, and book publisher with 2 aerospace engineering degrees. And Steve Tanaka is an illustrator from Southern California, from Moore Park, Ventura County. Brett, may I ask you to share your screen, and the stage is yours.
Okay, thank you, Sabine and Bernard and Adriano. And I'll let Steve introduce himself also more soon, but I'll just say we both met when we worked at Boeing Aerospace together at the same time. He's since retired. I've since left the company, but he also has a large aerospace background. So, all right, so let me share my screen. I have a presentation, and then I plan to do a book reading with everyone here online of our book, Goodnight Moon Base. So let me start sharing the screen. Somebody could let me know you see this. Oh, that's not the right one. Hold on. Let me stop that. Okay, I have to find the right presentation. Let me apologize. Did you see me now again?
See you.
Okay. Let me open up the right one. Recent. Okay. Should be this one. Okay, here we go. View slideshow. All right, and now I'll share again. Hopefully you should see now our Space Renaissance Academy.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, great. All right. So thank you again for having us here to talk about Goodnight Moon Base. Now I need to move my control panel so I can see what I'm talking about. All right, so we're here today to help everyone here imagine our space renaissance. That's my goal, at least. How can we create a vision that is so compelling that it moves us forward? So throughout my presentation here, I'll be featuring illustrations from our book, Goodnight Moon Base. So this is one of them. And it's a very inspirational hand-painted drawing from Steve Tanaka here. I love his artwork, and I'm very fortunate and grateful that he has worked with me on this book to turn this vision into physical reality. So here's our reality today. We have a lot of a challenging world we live in. People are trying to live their daily lives. We have a lot of distractions, but that's the grown-up world. But it's not just us in the world. We have children that we're trying to raise and to foster and to encourage. So what I have been thinking about in the past few years is, how can we give ourselves a proper perspective? So here is the cosmic calendar. Hopefully everyone's familiar with it, and you don't need to read the details here, but the point is, from this illustration, is if we could compress the history of the universe into a 12-month calendar year, this shows the history of the universe in compressed into a 1-year time frame. And some key points here to point out is that multicellular life on Earth only happened in December of this month. And so it's very recent. And then to get to our more recent timeframes, as you see at the bottom, cave art began less than a minute ago. Written records began only 12 seconds ago, and Columbus arrived in America just 1.2 seconds ago. So we're very recent in our history of humanity still on a cosmic time scale. So that leads me to think, let's look at a larger time frame. So there's an organization called the Long Now Foundation, and they encourage us to look at our lives, on a 10,000 year time scale. And so what they do that I love, that I try to do myself, is to imagine our year with 5 digits instead of 4. So we're not living now in the year 2021. It's really 02021. And imagine the future of humanity now when we turn over the digit, to get to the year 10,000. And let's assume we're going to get there. The question I like to ask and ponder is, how can we help ourselves get there better, more peacefully, more prosperously. And so that's the time frame I like thinking about. I suspect a lot of other people do here also in the space renaissance. So my question I've been wondering is, how can we maximize our human potential and impact on this time scale? So here comes my thoughts as an engineer. I hope everyone can appreciate this or relate to it a little, or at least follow along. What we're trying to do is look at the function of human life on the scale of the universe. It's very small, as we saw from the cosmic calendar. But what we really want to do is maximize this effort and the limits that we have, which for us is our lifetime, birth through death. And so how can we maximize this equation, so to speak? And my conclusion is we have to start on this as soon as possible once we are born, both for ourselves, but of course, we may not realize this until we're adults. So how can we do it with other people and other children? Basically, start them on a positive journey as soon as possible. So that led me to decide about what I'm going to do here that we're talking about. But what I want to point out to you is that other people know this, such as corporate marketing people. Right, here's a screenshot from a video that went viral, but it's from a soft drink company that shall remain nameless, we could say. But it's this little kid here who's having a 2-year-old birthday, and he's chugging down a complete can of soda as a 2-year-old, and then fist bumping his neighbors and friends who are there for his party, apparently. So I don't think that's a good thing to do for a 2-year-old, but it was effective marketing, and it shows that even at this young age, these corporations know that they are good if they can hook kids on their message. So how can we do that on a positive sense? That's what I think our challenge is. And so here's another famous quote from somebody who we all know, Steve Jobs, who had a good sales pitch for his executive Steve Scully, who was working at Pepsi at the time, and offered him a chance to really make a dent in the universe versus selling sugar water. So that is where I believe we have a powerful opportunity and potential with us here in the Space Renaissance, because we're offering something great for people if they can be a part of it for themselves and for the rest of humanity. Right? Because we're thinking of the course of humanity on a cosmic timescale in the universe. Right? All right, here comes my next slide. It's loading slowly. So we have to think about, again, if we can help shape the trajectory of people early in their lifetime, it can have a profound difference for the rest of their life, just as a long journey is heavily influenced by the initial course that you set. So let's think about the best mission fuel we could have for our mission here in the Space Renaissance. And what if this was our energy that we had behind our mission? That's what I want to create. That's what I want to harness with our book. And here's a personal shot. This was actually my daughter when she was little. Got her into one of these rides at a shopping mall. And so she, like most kids, just are naturally excited about space and rockets and the universe. So again, we have a great opportunity to capture this and to harness this and to build on this energy and enthusiasm. So that's why I want us to put ourselves in the minds of children. Both, that's has double meaning. We want to think of ourselves again as children and how we can encourage them. But if we can actually put our messages and our mission in the minds of children, then they will have a much longer lifetime than us, than what we have remaining to help us move forward. So in the book Goodnight Moon Base, our goal has been to take some scenes that are realistic and representative on the moon when we actually have a moon base. So here's an example of somebody doing a repair on the moon, talking to mission control back on Earth. But how can we put children in the scene? So in this example, on this page, that camera view on the moon is actually coming from a child who's holding the tablet. And through this kind of vision and imagery and messaging, I really want to encourage children to think about how they can become a part of this future and to see themselves on the moon. I think that's a powerful message. So as I'm thinking about this as an engineer, how to be most impactful with children, I thought about myself and my own childhood and stories I've heard from people. And so this has taken a few seconds to come up on my screen. I don't know about everyone else, but it should come up soon. Here we go. So the most impact comes from building an intimate connection with your family. Things that are a daily habit or ritual are impactful. And it's something that connects with children on a conscious and subconscious level. So my conclusion from this is that if we could create a compelling and enchanting bedtime story that hits all the marks, it satisfies all these goals and effective traditions and habits. So that's what I set about to do. And thinking about the world-class standards and popular successful bedtime books, one of the most successful ever is this book, Goodnight Moon. It was published in 1947, which most people don't know, but it's over, 70 years ago now? And it's still a bestseller. It's been in many printings. Both the author and illustrator have since passed away, but it's still a popular book through many generations now because grandparents read it even when they were little to their children who are now parents of their own kids. Their kids are reading it. So it has a permanent fixture in a lot of families. And so I thought I just had a revelation one day about 1.5 years ago. This is a perfect kind of book to think about actually being on the moon for bedtime. And so thus was born the idea for this book, Goodnight Moon Base. And to answer some questions I bet some people have is, I did talk with an attorney who's an expert in copyright and trademarks. And he gave me the all clear for this because the book, the title is not copyrighted, and there's been other spin-offs of this book. And so we should be all clear for to have this spin on the book Goodnight Moon. And just by adding this one word base, it gives a whole new meaning to the book and to the story and to our future as well. And so I'll see, I'll point out, you can see here in the book that on the original, you're in a bedroom or some room with a window. Looking out at the window, you see the moon. So we've taken that scene and inspired it here for Goodnight Moon Base. And now instead of the moon out of the window, it's the Earth. So here's a brief, but a little bit full picture of me and my background. I won't talk through all these, but you'll see that I do have, I think Sabine mentioned, I have 2 degrees in aerospace engineering. They're from Purdue and Penn State. I've been passionate about aerospace my whole adult life, even my childhood as well. My hobbies were involved with everything that flew. And so then I was fortunate to work in the aerospace industry for a long time. And that's where I met Steve Tanaka here. We were working in different divisions of Boeing, different places of the country, different opposite ends of the country. But we were both very passionate about innovation and creativity within Boeing. And working on some projects together, that's how we met each other in Boeing, and encouraging more innovation in the company because we're both passionate about that. And since I left Boeing a few years ago, that's when I got into book publishing and writing. And so my first book you'll see here is How to Be a Rocket Scientist. It was a career guide for people. And over the years since then, because of the ideas and thoughts I've shared with you here, I've been gradually working my way down to younger ages for books that I've written. So they've turned into a lot of puzzle and activity books that you see here. And now with Goodnight Moon Base, this will be as young as possible that we can do. So it's a bedtime storybook for children. So now I'd love for Steve to talk about himself. And here's a couple photos from his life. And here's an action photo of him creating the illustration for Goodnight Moon Base. So Steve, please say some words.
Yes, and Sabine, Adriano, and Bernard, thank you for this opportunity. I wanted to, before I started, I wanted to at least let you know that I've known Brett about 10 years. And my primary motivation for working with him is his character and his passion for education and motivating children. By character, I mean, he probably doesn't know that I've been listening to him through the years, but he once kind of shifted his career around so his wife could pursue her own career. So it really told me a lot about the gentleman, and besides his education. So he and I got laid off, to be honest, from Boeing. And I worked for 33 years, got laid off in 2014. And I began teaching art and volunteering for the blind when Brett knocked on my door and asked if I'd be interested in supporting this book idea. And I told him, give me a minute. But it took about 2 seconds, and I said, yes. So it's been quite a journey so far. My history is I started working for Rockwell International in 1982. Rockwell was the builder of the space shuttle. And Rockwell had a slogan called saying, improving the lives of the community in which you live. That really struck me, and I took it to heart, and it really meant a lot to me. Began doing motivational speaking with some engineers, talking to classrooms about math and science. And it's interesting when you do these presentations in middle school, high school, and elementary school children, you can see the ones whose minds are working. And these are young people. One interesting experience was in Albuquerque, New Mexico. After moving from graphics, I moved into trade show management for the company, marketing the space shuttle and space station. And we had a show in Albuquerque about space and NASA. And all these companies, Lockheed, Raytheon, were all in this one building. And all of a sudden, second graders would walk into the hall and they would sit on the floor. Each company had to give a presentation. So, boy, it caught me by surprise. So I had to think of something to say. And we had models of the space shuttle and space station that the children could see. Gave my presentation. And my first question was, how many of you would like to be astronauts? Second graders, each hand went up. And this was after an unfortunate accident with the space shuttle, where the astronauts unfortunately passed away. But these kids, second graders, raised their hand up, and they wanted to be astronauts. At the end of the presentation, one of them came up to me and asked me if I flew on the shuttle. I said, no, they haven't really sent artists yet. Then she asked me for my autograph, and what do I write? So I wrote, "Keep dreaming," and that was quite an experience. But to add on to what Brett is saying, I think we need to start when they're young. Second graders wanted to be astronauts. Give them a dream, something to strive for. And, but I think I had the best job in the world being trade show manager, because it gave us the opportunity to promote space and propulsion. So, yeah, that's where I am. It's been quite a journey with Brett, and we haven't even met in person yet. But we talk. We don't talk for long, but we seem to have a good exchange. And he brings his ideas with illustrations, and I think we work well together. And I just hope that my illustrations kind of relate to his words, and that's the important thing. That really means a lot to me. So thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Steve. Yeah, those are great stories. So, and yeah, you're a special person. So thank you for everything you're doing. So let me share, I want to share one more image that I have separate here. And it's from Steve from his past with this is a Rockwell engine, right, Steve?
This is called the F1 engine, one of the 5 that sent the Saturn to the moon. And it was at one time, the company was thinking of resurrecting this statue, and it actually works, but it's an old engine. It's called the F1 booster.
That's what they used on the Saturn rocket, you said?
Yes, one of the 5 on the bottom.
Right. Awesome. Okay, thanks. Sabine, did you want to say something?
Yes. Thank you so much for this introduction and presenting this nice book project. And I really like the idea that you want to teach young people to interest them for space and science. And Steve, I really like your lovely, lovely pictures in this book. I'm an artist too, and I really like your illustration for this book. Adriano y Bernard, I would like to ask you if, also I have to mention that because it is a children's book, we have no questions in the chat. So we have now a discussion with you. And Bernard, the stage is yours. You are muted, and you should unmute yourself.
Yeah, it takes some time from the moon. And remind me of a project we had with the children from 20 classrooms all over the world. And the project was called the Global Science Opera Moon Village. And they wrote kind of opera scene, so 20 scenes, where the story was coming out of some ideas that I shared with them. That, in 2040, we'll have 100 people on the moon. The first baby will be born on the moon. So what are we going to teach these children on the moon? So at the Moon School, and they were very inspired by this, and they wrote a full opera, and then they created scenes that they played on TV from 20 different countries. And they were very inspired to think, yes, how different it will be, and what do we bring from our childhood from Earth onto the moon. So what do we teach in your school on the moon base?
You're asking me what we will teach children on the moon in the future, Bernard?
Yes.
Well, I
We
believe
don't have a contract. We don't have a contract yet for that.
But
Well, I
we have
believe
just-
it's
Brett,
fun
do you
to
mind
Steve, yeah,
if I commented?
sure, go ahead.
Brett?
Yeah, you're
I
the
think what we need
educator.
to
Actually.
I think we need to teach, I think, the fundamentals, I think the basics. We don't even do cursive anymore here in America for the young. I mean, it's a thought. It's a basic building block.
Well, I remember I had a professor of theater, and he said, "Oh, the youth, we have to give them nature and genius. Inspire them by nature, going outside, and by reading or cultivating the genius." So that's important. And not only the flat screen. Yes.
Yeah, but I think it will be interesting because if you are on another planet or living on a space habitat, you will not have the same environment like on Earth. So I think it is very interesting how it will develop in future generations, because as you said, when the first baby will be born on the moon, yeah, it will be interesting if it will really happen, and when will it happen, that we have yeah, a new generation born on moon, and how they will grow up. They will not, they will, so it will be different like here, because they cannot go out simply and play with some plants or with nature. There's nothing outside, so they have to be trained to wear a spacesuit, and now, like our children now had to learn to go out with mask, and yeah, it will be different, and they will be born in this harsh environment. It is a harsh environment, you have to admit, and they will have maybe only the stories from their parents about Earth. They see Earth like a blue dot, but they cannot imagine how it smells to be in a forest, or how smells green grass after the rain, or all these things. Yes, yeah, I think it is interesting to show how it is there. Yeah, Adriano?
But I was thinking about several aspects. I was trying to imagine children growing up in a village, in a moon village, where maybe how many people could be there? 1,000 people in a first stage of moon colonization, you know. And so these children will have a school for sure. They will have a kindergarten. They will have place to play. They will have toys. They will have toys that can be operated in 1/6 gravity.
Yes.
That's something interesting to imagine, no? To think about.
Everywhere. Yes.
Yes, and also I remember Patrick Collins made some pictures imagining big rooms, very big rooms, stadium, like a stadium, where people can fly.
Yeah, we can fly.
With proper wings, of course. In 1/6 gravity, our body will not be heavy too much heavy, so we could fly with the movement of our arms with wings.
With flapping wings, like a Leonardo da Vinci invention, maybe.
Yeah.
So, yes, I think all of this would be very exciting and fantastic for children. And but I think, however, one thing we have to imagine, and we have to tell it, to say it in every symposia that we are speaking, that those children should have green environment in the village.
Yeah, we have an oasis.
They shouldn't live in an iron box, for sure. And so I think this is maybe a recommendation for you, Brett, and for Steve. In your illustration, in your narration, think about the green environment in the extraterrestrial habitats.
But they are showing greenhouses in the book. But another aspect would be also what language will they speak? You see,
Oh, yes.
for example, in Africa and South Africa, they speak African because it is a mixture about from Dutch and the indigenous languages. And maybe it will be a mixture from Chinese, a new Esperanto, yeah, in Chinese and English and Russian and
Like
maybe German.
In the James Corey, the Expanse, the Belters speak a strange melted language, the Sasake. It's a mixture of English, Spanish, and German language, and Italian too.
I'm speaking.
Yes, all of us, that we are not mother tongue, so all of us speak something like that, of course. However, yes, this will. Which language will we teach in the Moon Village? At least 3 or 4 languages.
At the moment, okay, they will come from different culture. I think China will be quite implanted.
Yeah,
because they will be key actors
yes,
at the
yes.
beginning. And you know, now
Yeah,
we can give a talk last week in Italian with a bit of help of Google Translate and with my nice memories of working in Italy. It's 20 years ago. I gave a talk 30 minutes. So we will have a Google Translate in real time as well.
Yeah.
So you can also talk, you know, depending on your emotion, you can think in one language and then you can connect and have them, or we can say also in now in Europe, we could quite soon speak European. Everybody could speak their native language or the one they like, and you are around the table and we understand, and depending on what we want to express, you can shift a bit the language.
Interesting.
Yep.
I think Steve wants to say something.
I wanted to share a story. I heard an astronaut give a speech once. He was saying when they were circling the Earth, each astronaut would say, "That's my home," pointing to Italy, China, or Germany, Brazil. By the time the flight was over, they would point to Earth and said, "This is my home." So,
Yes. Interesting aspect. Brett?
nice. Well, I think it's going to, I think just being on the moon would be such an educational experience in many ways for a child, because they'll learn. We don't think about gravity here too much on Earth, but imagine, you know, being in 1/6 gravity, you'd learn a lot about it, and you'd have to learn a lot about science with radiation protection and exposure, all the spacesuit equipment they'll have. They'll have to learn about farming and agriculture because of however we'll produce food on the moon, the chemistry, and they'll definitely learn about safety and precautions, right? Because everything will be, they'll have to be careful, well-trained about that. So, and they'll definitely learn about people from other parts of the world of Earth, because it will be an international community where everybody will have to work together and you'll be together in the same space. So it will it'll be a fantastic experience, and I can just imagine how when they come back to Earth, I'm sure it'll be temporary on the moon at first for everyone. Eventually they'll stay up there, but they'll be great ambassadors for life on the moon when they come back here to Earth. And so I think when we get to the point, and I'm sure we will, when children can live on the moon, then that's when we really will have taken the next step as a species in the cosmos. So.
Then other
But also intermediate steps. I think we can have very soon some avatar of children. I have sent a probe around the moon. The next one will be on a lander. You can have some robotic system that can see at distance. You can see through the eyes of this robot and look at the landscape there. Look back at the Earth. It will be as big as the planet that you have in your background. It's 4 times the size of the moon. They can observe all of us, humanity. So through the eyes of robot, we could start to teach the children to have a new perspective on Earth, as our planet, our spaceship, and also as some distance, and showing that we can start to expand beyond the cradle, as Tchaikovsky was saying. So I think we could already make them aware of this in the next decade.
Another question is, will there be animals on the moon, or will they eat only artificial meat grown in the laboratory, or will they have animals there? Yeah, I would like to have a steak there.
Yeah, but you can 3D print very nice tasting.
3D print.
You have the texture, you have the taste, and it's all vegetal. So you have.
Well, there's definitely people working on food and artificial meat, but I wonder, maybe we'll be able to have chickens there and lay eggs for at least some protein.
Yeah, because they are talking always about plants as greenhouses, but no one is talking about meat. And we all know that the brain has developed, the human brain has developed because they have eaten meat, and it was very important.
But you have a lot of protein in insects as well. And
but there are no insects on the moon.
Yeah, we have done some simulation, and where we cultivate cockroaches in a very clean environment, and you can.
Well, you don't want them escaping into the rest of the moon base, right?
Well, no, but if you have a clean environment, they taste good, and they are very rich in proteins. So yeah, we can adapt and maybe use animals more like a company, living in harmony together with other animals. Noah's Ark, also, for instance, as well.
Well, I would just add something, because before we touched an argument that's maybe a little bit out of the topic of the children and the moon and so on, but I think it's important to mention, because I'm not sure that we should grow up children on the moon surface. Maybe we should go to the moon surface only for working, and maybe for tourism also, because for tourism we stay there maximum 1 month or so. Mm-hmm. But we should live on air structures, rotating habitats, so we can grow our children in 1G simulated gravity. That's very much better than 1/6. But however, it would be fun. In the same time, it would be fun for those children to go down on the moon surface in proper structures, to have fun and to study and to make exploration and to make this kind of things. That for sure, the moon is a reserve of helium-3 and a lot of useful things. So we have to definitely to go there and work and to extract these materials, but also think that regolith is a quite dangerous thing.
Yeah.
And okay, if you bring some regolith inside your habitat, that would be dangerous, because if you bred it, it's very small. The granulometry is very thin.
Yeah, it can be carcinogen.
It's very dangerous. Therefore, I think for the moon habitats, they should develop proper methodologies and technologies in order to keep the regolith well outside the place where we can breathe and live and so on. And this for children is even more dangerous, because you know you can.
I tend also a bit to think like you. I see the moon is a great place for robotic, for exploration, and maybe I plan in 20 years, you know, that in this 2040 time scale, to retire there. I'll go there, you know. I will have back pain, and I will be very happy not to have to carry my whole weight. But I will try to make the place kids friendly. When my grandkids come and visit me for 1 lunar day, that's 1 month. Oh, they come on holidays to see their grandfather, and then they have a new experience. And when they come back to Earth, it gives them a completely new perspective. But clearly, the Earth is more a place for children to grow. I would agree with you.
Well, they're definitely. You make a good point, Adriano. We'll definitely have to have good decontamination processes if we're moving in and out of the moon surface and back into a habitat. So I'll admit that in our book, we simplify that. We are making it look a lot easier and simpler than it will be.
It's all right. I mean, the next step would be to write novels for children on the moon, with the story, stories of children that have their school, their things, etc. And maybe they go up and down from O'Neill City to the moon surface with the visits with their school. They can go that with school travels. No, the teachers bringing children to visit the installations, the sport, the tourist infrastructure, and so on. I think that there will be an immense variety of topics to be told, stories for children. Sorry.
I think Steve wants to say something.
Okay. Please.
Steve, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, made me think about another speech I heard from Neil Armstrong before he passed away at a conference, and how he, instead of taking the glory of being on the moon, he thanked the people who helped him get there safely and come back. And that, which made me think maybe something closer to home with the children, educating them. Maybe they can, maybe not all be astronauts, but maybe have careers on Earth that helps operating on the moon, on the Earth. Maybe not all children want to fly, but it's an opportunity to support the program too.
I like the idea from Bernard that his grandchildren will visit him on the moon, and you are sitting there like you are still on the moon. That's so funny. Another question to Brett. When do you think the book will come out on the market? What are your plans for?
Right. So, yeah, fair question. And our goal, there is some uncertainty now with all of the logistics and publishing operations that are happening. So we will definitely have the book submitted for publication in November next month. It's still difficult for me to say exactly when it will be available online anywhere. Definitely, we're aiming for before the end of November.
November, yes.
Yeah, but definitely will be by December, and the Christmas and the Hanukkah holidays, it definitely will be available by then. So at least to order. It may not be able to get into people's hands as a physical book, but let me say we are planning to publish the book as an ebook, like Kindle. So it will be digital. That will be easiest to get first. It will be a paperback in the first edition, and it will also be a hardback available as that. And then hopefully eventually next year we'll be able to make it into a board book, which is like the baby cardboard kind of books. I want to do that, but that will take more time and money next year. And we also are planning to have a coloring book edition of the book. So all of the words and all the illustrations will be reproduced as a coloring book. And so children can put their own colors and imagination into the scenery, make it personal for them. And that will be very fun and special. And that's one of the gifts that people will receive. So we didn't mention this, but this summer we had a Kickstarter crowdfunding campaign for the book to help raise money for it and to promote it. So a lot of the Kickstarter backers will be getting that coloring book edition too.
So you have a plan to distribute it in the specialized libraries of books for children, and also to go around in the schools to make presentations to the children. Are you planning something like that?
I would love to do that. I'll be looking for invitations and opportunities to do that. Yes.
Okay. Great.
Well, and I thank you so much, Steve and Brett, for presenting your book, and Adriano and Bernard for joining us. And of course, we are also a non-profit organization. We also need money, so go to our website. Yeah. And our next webinar will be in 2 weeks. And I wanted to mention our Congress book came out. It's available on Amazon. You can find all our lectures from our Congress. And in 2 weeks wants to speak. Our next speaker is Einar Larsen from Norway. And he will talk about, I have this book not here. Okay, I had it here, but I have it in another place. Yeah, but stay tuned, join us, and thank you so much. And I wish everyone a nice evening. And Bernard, you want to say something?
Yes, thank you. Yes, I wanted to announce that actually Adriano and me, we are going to travel to Dubai. So there we will be part of the International Astronomical Congress, but also there is a World Expo in Dubai. So there will be more than 110 different national pavilions. So we are going to meet kids and adults from the whole world. So we will maybe have some inspiration what the kids from other countries on the theme of sustainable development, mobility, expanding habitat, if they have some ideas for us for a space renaissance.
Okay, thank you. So
great.
Wish all a nice evening. You want to say something, Brett, before we close?
Yes. So let me say, I love what you're doing at Space Renaissance, and there's actually a way for people to support you, because when anyone buys the book Goodnight Moon Base, we're going to provide a way for them to donate a portion of their purchase to an organization that is helping humanity get back to the moon. And Space Renaissance International will be one of those organizations. So I encourage everyone watching here, if you want to do that and you make this your donation, please do that. So go to the website goodnightmoonbase.com and look for the announcement about the book there, sign up for updates. And then when it comes time to purchase the book, you'll have instructions on how to choose where that money is donated. And you can select Space Renaissance International from that list. So hopefully that will be a big boost for your organization, and I look forward to supporting you through that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, and I will buy a book for my grandchildren.
Very good.
Yes.
I'm going to start my library for the moon, but in the meantime, a safe trip back to Earth.
Yes. Okay.
Be
Hello.
safe.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye bye.
You